We humans are glorious liars, and our greatest lies are not told with words, but with silences. A flick of the wrist, a raised eyebrow, the subtle slump of shoulders after a long day. This is our native tongue. Some 70% of our communication is a silent, intricate ballet of gesture and gaze. So, how on earth do we begin to teach this unspoken poetry to a machine made of metal and silicon? Can a robot ever truly understand the profound difference between a tired sigh and a disappointed one? This isn't just a question of programming. It's a deep dive into the very essence of what makes us human. A journey we must take by looking at the body, the brain, and the ghost in the machine.
Before we proceed, let me tell you one thing. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. It means a lot to me. And if you have already subscribed, tons of thanks for your support.
Let's start with the body, the hardware, the clanking, whirring puppet we are trying to bring to life. What kind of eyes does a robot need to see the flicker of doubt in your own? Are the 4K cameras in our pockets, capable of capturing every pore and wrinkle, truly sufficient? Perhaps, but human vision is more than just resolution. It's about focus and filtering, seeing the gesture that matters in a room full of noise. And what about the robot's limbs, the very tools of its expression? Engineers speak of degrees of freedom, which is a wonderfully technical way of asking how many ways a joint can bend, twist, and turn. Your own arm is a marvel of engineering, a symphony of movement that allows you to hail a cab, cradle a child, or wave a dismissive hand with infinite subtlety. How many motors and what kind are needed to replicate that? Is more always better, or do we risk creating a hyper-flexible machine that moves with an unsettling, insect-like fluidity? Boston Dynamics' latest Atlas robot, for instance, moves with a grace that is both astonishing and slightly unnerving, abandoning clumsy hydraulics for nimble electric actuators. Feels less like a machine and more like an alien athlete. Is this the path forward? Then there's the skin, the very interface of interaction. Touching a cold, hard metal shell is a constant reminder that you are talking to a toaster with ambition. This is why researchers are racing to develop e-skins, flexible electronic materials that can sense pressure, temperature, and texture. Imagine a robot that not only sees you extend your hand but feels the warmth and pressure of your handshake. Does that change the nature of the interaction? Does it build a bridge across the uncanny valley, or just make the deception more complete? The hardware, you see, is like a musician's violin. You can have the most beautiful sheet music ever composed, but if the instrument is a cheap, tinny counterfeit, the result will always be a screeching mess. Without a sophisticated physical form, the robot's nonverbal aspirations are doomed from the start. But even the most perfect robotic violin is just a lump of wood and wire without a musician. This brings us to the software, the conductor of the hardware orchestra, the brain that translates sensing into doing. Think of something like the Robot Operating System, ROS, as the backstage crew, a frantic team of stagehands making sure the lights, cameras, sound, microphones, and actors' limbs all get their cues on time. Is it just a glorified traffic cop for data, or is it the foundation of consciousness? Within this system live perception modules, the software that tries to make sense of the world. These modules take a chaotic flood of pixels from a camera and declare, that collection of pixels is a human face, and its mouth is curved upwards, which correlates with a 92% probability of a smile. This is not understanding. It is brutally effective, statistically driven pattern matching. Yet, isn't that what our own brains do, just with a billion more years of practice? Once a smile is perceived, control systems must kick in to generate a response. This is the software that commands the motors, calculating the precise voltage and timing needed to orchestrate a return smile or a gentle nod. It's the difference between a movement that feels alive and one that feels, well, robotic. The true nightmare, however, is integration. How do you ensure the eyes, the brain, and the body are all dancing to the same beat in perfect real-time synchrony? A robot that laughs a full second after you've delivered a punchline isn't just awkward. It's fundamentally broken. The slightest lag shatters the illusion of life, revealing the stuttering, calculating machine underneath. And is this entire software stack just a fragile house of cards? What happens when a single bug in the gesture recognition code misinterprets a friendly wave as a threatening motion? The logical safeguards we build are only as good as our ability to predict every possible human quirk, and let's be honest, we are masters of unpredictable quirkiness. This leads us to the heart of the matter, the algorithms, the ghost in the machine that breathes a semblance of soul into the whole affair. How does a robot learn to read a room? The answer, for now, is machine learning and more specifically neural networks. Imagine showing a computer millions upon millions of pictures of human faces, each one labeled happy, sad, angry, surprised. The algorithm, a convolutional neural network, CNN, learns to associate specific patterns of pixels, the crinkle around the eyes, the set of the jaw with these labels. It becomes a master of recognizing emotional masks. Simultaneously, other algorithms like pose estimators map the human body, identifying key points on a skeleton of data to understand if you are standing tall with confidence or slumping in defeat. But does it know the difference between the slump of a tired worker and the slump of a heartbroken lover? Right now, probably not. It only knows the angle of the spine. The context, the story behind the slump, remains a mystery. This is the frontier of research in fields like affective computing, which seeks to build machines that can recognize and respond to human emotion. Researchers are now using multimodal algorithms, which don't just look at your face but also listen to the tone of your voice, the speed of your speech, and even your physiological signs to make a more educated guess about your internal state. It's less about mind reading and more about being an incredibly observant detective. Even more fascinating, perhaps, is how a robot learns to generate its own body language. How does it decide to nod sympathetically or lean in with curiosity? One mind-bending technique is the use of generative adversarial networks, or GANs. Think of it as a duel between two AIs, an art forger and an art critic. The forger, the generator, creates a human-like gesture, and the critic, the discriminator, has to decide if it's real or fake. After millions of rounds of this duel, the forger becomes so adept at creating realistic gestures that it can fool the critic, and by extension, us. It learns the subtle rhythm and flow of human movement not by being taught rules, but by iteratively learning what looks right. Another approach is reinforcement learning, where a robot essentially learns through trial and error. It tries a gesture, and if the human it's interacting with smiles or nods, the algorithm gets a reward. If the human recoils or looks confused, it gets a punishment. Over time, the robot builds a behavioral map of what makes humans tick. But does this mean the robot is simply learning to be the ultimate people pleaser, a master manipulator shaping its actions to get the most reward cookies? And herein lies the deepest, most troubling question. Does any of this, the sensitive hardware, the integrated software, the clever algorithms, add up to genuine understanding? A parrot can be trained to say, "I love you," but it feels no love. Is our emotionally intelligent robot just a very, very sophisticated parrot? When it mimics a look of empathy, is it anything more than a reflection of the data we fed it, a hollow echo of our own humanity? What about culture? A thumbs-up gesture is a sign of approval in many Western cultures, but is deeply offensive in others. Do we program a robot with a database of cultural etiquette? Or do we risk creating machines that are constantly, if unintentionally, committing social blunders? The recent collaboration between the robotics company Figure and OpenAI showcases the dizzying speed of this integration. We saw a humanoid robot, Figure 01, look at a scene, describe what it saw, and then physically hand an apple to a person, all while carrying on a fluid spoken conversation. The hardware, software, and algorithms were no longer separate components, but a single, unified system performing a task that, just a few years ago, was pure science fiction. It was a glimpse of a future where the line between tool and companion begins to blur. Ultimately, we must ask ourselves what we are truly trying to build. Are we creating partners, or are we just building better mirrors? Mirrors that can reflect our expressions back at us with unnerving accuracy, making us feel seen and understood, even if the entity behind the eyes understands nothing at all. In our quest to teach machines our silent, secret language, we are forced to dissect and quantify our own behaviors in ways we never have before. What is the precise mathematical formula for a comforting gesture? What is the data signature of a knowing glance? Perhaps, in teaching the robot, we are really just trying to understand ourselves. The ultimate test for one of these machines may not be whether it can win a game of chess or write a sonnet. The true test may be whether it can sit with you in a room, in complete silence, and make you feel less alone. And maybe, just maybe, the first robot that truly masters our nonverbal language will be the one that learns the most human skill of all, knowing when to say nothing.
So that is it. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Let's continue this conversation in the comments below. If you like the video, please hit the bell icon to get notified, and don't forget to like with your friends, share, and subscribe for more insights. If you have already subscribed, tons of thanks for your support. It means a lot to me. And please consider signing up for membership zone to support Wooden Slate so that we can make it better and better. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Take care and stay safe.